How much of your Social Security income is going to be taxed and at what rate? This question comes up all the time, and today we're going to dive right in to answer just that. So here on the screen, you can see that we pulled one of my client's tax returns. This couple here earns $131,000 per year. That's their AGI, adjusted gross income. So that's after the standard deductions have come out. So remember, in the United States, we have a progressive tax system. So here are your tax rates, 10, 12, 22, 24. Just because someone's in 22% doesn't mean they actually pay 22% in taxes. It's just the amount of money that falls in that bracket that gets taxed at 22%. So if we go back to the beginning here, we see every dollar from 0 to 23 is taxed at 10%. So if we have $23,000 at that level, 10% of that gives us $23.20. Same thing for the next bracket, we're going to pay 12% for every dollar in between there, which is $71,000. That gives us $85.32. And then in this bracket, we have about $37,000 of income that fell into there, which you owe 22% of, which is another $8,149, gives us a total tax of $19,000. So Social Security gets taxed at the same rate as any other ordinary income that you would have received while working. So there's not a different tax rate. You don't get like a pay a reduced tax rate. It's the same tax system. So as far as at what rate, it does not change. Now, as far as how much actually gets taxed, we've got to go down to here. With Social Security, they use something called provisional income. So provisional income is basically all income you get, not including Social Security. In this case, it's $128,000. Then you add in any non-taxable interest, which is zero. Then you add back in 50% of your Social Security benefits. So only about half of your Social Security benefits gets applied to this formula. So total combined income is 149. Notice it's more than that AGI number of 131. So why are we calculating this provisional income? Because this provisional income gets actually applied to this other bracket up here that says how much of our taxes are due. So for households or couples, in order to pay no taxes on Social Security, you have to have less than $32,000 in that formula of provisional income. So if half of your Social Security benefits plus all of your other income coming in is ever less than $32,000, then you'd pay 0% or no taxes on your Social Security benefits. Now, once you cross over, so every dollar starting between $32,000 to $44,000, half of it becomes taxable. Now, if we look at the next level, it says up to 50% taxable. 50% is not your tax rate. It's just how much of your benefits is going to be subject to tax. So you fall in between this income threshold here, half the benefits are going to be taxed. So if I get $24,000 per year, half of that, $12,000, would be subject to tax. So of that $12,000, it would then apply to the other tax brackets we looked at. And depending on what bracket that fell into, you'd pay taxes at that level on that $12,000. Now, the next bracket up is once you push past $44,000 of income, up to 85% is going to be taxable. So again, that's not the tax rate, that's just how much subject to tax. So 15% of your benefit is always going to be tax-free. So some Social Security will be tax-free. The majority of it is subject to taxes. Now, there's not too many people out there that make less than $44,000 for provisional income. Unfortunately, most people do end up paying taxes on at some form on their Social Security benefits. So in this person's case, their total Social Security benefits was $41,000. Up to 85% of it is subject to taxes. So 85% of 41,000 gives us 34,959. Right? So that 34,959 is going to fall into this bracket right here. So they essentially owe 22% of that Social Security benefit. So they essentially owe 22% in taxes of that Social Security benefit. All right, so I hope that clears things up as far as how Social Security taxes work. If you want more information like this, I have a free course for Washington State employees going through all of your benefits, taxes, and things like Social Security. The link to join the community is listed down below, and I look forward to seeing you guys there. And as always, remember that your future depends on what you do today.